I built this number 13 motorcycle for one purpose and one purpose only: breaking the law. That's right, this bike is a hooligan, but that's okay, so am I. We fit together well. What's challenging about this bike in particular is none of the parts that make up the motorcycle. None of the parts were meant to fit onto the Harley frame. As a matter of fact, I don't think any of the parts were meant to fit together, let alone on the same bike. Fiberglass fairing made in, I don't know, who knows when, sometime a few decades ago, looks like. But it's very strong, very well made, and took quite a bit of effort to fit it onto the frame and fit it well. Fuel tank is aluminum, most likely made for a Norton Manx. The seat is a generic seat. I had to make a subframe for it and raise it about an inch, just so the seat and the fuel tank line up sort of kind of horizontally, and that gives you a very racy sitting position, and I'll get to that in a little bit. This bike I don't think we'll take for a ride today. I don't think I can fool you again, but I toured the East Coast on it a couple of times. It's not that uncomfortable, especially for a person that's about 6 foot tall. It's somewhat ergonomical. Very, you can use the handlebars being very short. You have to use your body to control where the bike goes in the corners. It's probably my loudest bike. It has no mufflers. It has no turn signals again, no horn, no mirrors. Basically, this motorcycle is a rolling violation, and it's kind of the way I like it. It's the faster version of a chopper, if you will. Of course, cafe racer traditionally were done on British frames, British engines, and having a Harley powered vintage retro looking racer, I think, and one that looks good at it, and one that's very fun to ride. I think it's something special. The bike will top out at about 130 miles an hour. I didn't just admit to that, but it's not impressive by modern standards. But modern metric motorcycles will go much faster. But getting 130 miles out of a stock Harley engine is quite a bit, and I attribute most of that to the improved aerodynamics of the fairing and the modified gearing ratio on the rear sprocket. This also has been modified to a chain for that reason, to be able to play with gearing ratio. And this one sits quite a bit different than what the original bike set, and I'll get to it. The original Sportster had the foot pegs right over here, and the handlebars were right above here, so you'd sit somewhere hereabouts. Not bad, but this is more ready to control the bike quite a bit better. Let's start her up. A loud booger, ain't it? But it's fun. I'll walk you around and show you the bike. I'm going to start off with the front end. That fairing, I'm not sure what bike it was meant to actually fit. But after I trimmed it and made some mounts for it, one up there, another one up there, and then the mainstay is up on the neck. I don't know if you can see it, but it's made to fit just like so. I'll give you a rider's point of view fairly shortly here. But the fairing is comes off in about 10 minutes flat, not even. It fits around nicely, and also in the rear I made those brackets so it doesn't flap in the wind. Fuel tank is made of aluminum, retained by a thick leather strap on top. And these are not knee pads like most people think. These are made to protect the aluminum from my zipper, jacket, whatever. And the rear of the belt comes off by removing the seat. The seat comes off with these 4 bolts we see here and here. And the cool thing about it is, if the bolts come loose, the seat will not slide backwards. They're trapped in their mounting bracket there. And I don't know if you can see, but I had to make a subframe for the seat because it was too flimsy otherwise. These are for luggage, limited amount luggage, about a week's worth of luggage. Like I said, I traveled the East Coast, New England area on this bike. And you can see there's not a whole lot of luggage there. The exhaust, I adapted from a different Harley that was not meant to fit, but that's kind of my specialty. Making stuff fit that's not supposed to fit. And I had to, of course, make the mounting bracket for it. The rear sets also I had to make because, like I said, the original foot pegs were in this location. I had to move my feet back for comfort. Re-engineer the leverages. And the original Harley master cylinder was inversed 180 degrees. Now it's pushing from the rear instead of from the front. And these plates I had to make, I don't know if you can see, but they're ribbed, kind of sort of like a die cast, if you will. It's another one. This is to fill to know when you lean too far. Unfortunately, on this side it does not work. It's too short, and the bottom of the exhaust is the first that touches on the hard leaning right turns. The frame has been modified from here back. The loop is to hold the rear fender and license plate bracket. And it's skinny, very skinny. It doesn't even cover the whole rear tire, actually. I don't know if you can see, but you don't throw a rooster tail on the side of the tire. You throw it in the center. That's basically what you need to cover. On this side, maybe I can show this side a little better. The rear sets are this one does work. This, and I better listen to it, because if I don't listen to it, I will bend my shifter bag, which makes no fun getting home. But let me see if I can get my camera back there. Yeah, see the ribs between stress points. So they're very sturdy. The rear mount of the fairing on this side uses a couple of primary bolts, and there's really no reason to remove the fairing. Even the oil filter can be accessed without removing the fairing. The spark plugs are right there. Inspection cover for the primary chain is easily accessible. Basically, the fairing does not need to come off very often. There is a steering stabilizer because I had problems before catching air going over Michigan railroad tracks. Landing was inducing steering wobbles. Let's sit on the bike and see how you feel on that. It's very narrow, very narrow. The handlebars were the length of this handlebar. Of course, you see there's no buttons for anything else, turn signals and so forth. But the length of this was only dictated by the length of this, which is completely out of space. They're as narrow as they can possibly be. Dashboard includes a ref counter, not even a speedometer. There's no speedometer. But I marked a couple of points in top gear. That'll be 45 miles an hour. That's 75 miles an hour. And that's obviously my red line. Simple buttons. Headlight. I won't tell you about the other two. I don't want to give up the combination. How to steal my bike. But I try to keep some sort of information that a rider should know about. In my native tongue of Romanian, this is tire pressure in kilopascals, front and rear, față și spate. Benzina is obviously, you can tell, 93 plus, you know it's gasoline. And the next we have engine oil and spark plug gap. Typical British filler cap, aluminum, and that's basically how, if in full tuck position, that's what you see the road kind of sort of. But yeah, very skinny. Full lock position, that was such a challenge to make sure that everything goes together without rubbing anything. Levers are cut down super short. There's no reason for them to be much longer than that. And that's about it for the sitting position. It's one of my favorite bikes. It's very fun to go fast on it. Going slow is not as much fun because you tend to slide forward and put more pressure on your wrists than you would have otherwise. But man, it flows so nicely. The headlight and the handlebars and fuel tank and the seat have such nice lines together. I enjoy parking this bike after I get home in one piece and just looking at it, having a moment of conversation with this rebel bike. Anyway, until next time, this is 1997 Harley Davidson Sportster with a 1200cc engine. And I don't know what else to add to it. So, until next time.